I think we are live now.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 16th episode of Let's Talk Inclusion. My name is Manobina Chakraborty, the host of this show and the founder of I for Inclusion. This episode is very special for all of us because it's 2nd April today, World Autism Awareness Day. And my guests today are the three amazingly talented and successful people who themselves are on the autism spectrum. I have a very renowned Dr. Stephen Shore with me today. Dr. Shore is a professor of special education in Adelphi University, New York. Hi, Stephen. I'm delighted to have you on my show today. Welcome to Let's Talk Inclusion once again.
Oh,
Yes, Stephen. Hi.
no, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
So my another guest is Mr. Ujjwal Sharma. Ujjwal is an award-winning graphic designer based in India. Hello, Ujjwal. Welcome to Let's Talk Inclusion. And my third guest is Mr. Mihir Pillai, another very talented young professional working in the development sector in India. Hi, Mihir. Welcome to Let's Talk Inclusion. So today we will discuss about the ways of meaningful inclusion as key to promoting fulfilling and productive lives for autistic individuals. But before that, may I ask my dear guests to tell our viewers a little more about themselves, please. Stephen, please.
Oh, well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be on with you. We were together for the initial launch of Talking Inclusion, and now we're here for the 2 to the power of 4, or otherwise the 16th episode. Great to be back with you. And now a little bit about what brings me here to talk to you about autism and inclusion, to be specific. After 18 months of typical development, I was struck with the regressive autism bomb. And like with 30% of us on the spectrum, at 18 months, I lost functional communication, had meltdowns, withdrew from the environment, and in brief, I became a very autistic little kid. There was so little known about autism in those days that it took my parents a year to find a place for diagnosis. And when they did, the doctor said they had never seen such a sick child, and they recommended institutionalization. Now, fortunately, my parents, like we see ever-increasing numbers of parents in India and countries around the world, they advocated on my behalf, and they convinced the school to take me in about a year. And it was during that year that my parents implemented what we would today refer to as an intensive home-based early intervention program. And with the work that my parents did, and this was at a time when the concept of early intervention didn't even exist, speech began to return at age 4. And then I was admitted to that special school that initially rejected me. And instead of being considered as autistic and ready for an institution, I got upgraded to neurotic. So things were looking up. And then it was after about a year and a half of that, special school, it was regular school kindergarten at age 6. That was a social and academic catastrophe. You know what happens to people who are different in grade school. Fortunately, school systems realize that bullying is not a developmental phase that people need to go through. And academically, I was about a grade behind in most of my subjects. But I had my special interests. And I would get all the books on whatever that interest was and read them, and take notes, copy diagrams, and sometimes even wonder if there was more to school than just reading my favorite books, such as doing math in groups, or reading in groups. And then it was on to middle and high school. You don't need to be autistic to have difficulties in middle and high school. It's such a challenging time, but it was actually better for me because 1, I figured out that using words instead of sound effects from the environment really helped with social interaction. And then 2, I was able to engage in my highly focused interest of music. I joined the band. Now I had a structured activity in which to mediate my interactions with others. I got so taken up in music then I got it into my head that I needed to learn how to play all the instruments. And so I'd spend hours in the instrument closet figuring them out. And while I didn't learn them all, I did get it up to about 15. And then when I learned that a requirement for a degree in music education was that you had to learn all the instruments, well, that just seemed to be the way to go. That's exactly what I did. For my bachelor's, master's, and all of my doctoral coursework. And after I finished my music doctoral coursework, I started getting more interested in autism. So I defected to the School of Education, got my master and my doctorate in special education. And here I am now, where I spend my time either teaching and researching on autism-related issues at the university, traveling. I've been to India, I think at least a dozen times now, talking about autism. And I look forward to when it becomes safe to travel to India and other countries again. And maybe at the end of this year, maybe we have to wait till next year. I also write books and articles on autism and give music lessons to children on the autism spectrum. So that's what brings me here to talk to you.
Thank you very much, Stephen. You have always been our inspiration. Thanks for joining us today. Now, Ujjwal, could you please tell us a little more about yourself?
My name is Ujjwal Sharma. Now I'm a certified trained graphic designer from National Skill Development Corporation after completing 12th standard through open schooling. I also like sketching and playing music on synthesizer. I like to play Bollywood as well as devotional songs on synthesizer. I use YouTube to learn the notation of these songs.
Amazing. It's really amazing, Ujjwal. I'm really glad to share this platform with you today. Thank you very much. Now, Mihir. Mihir is, Ujjwal, could you please, turn off your mic. Mihir is a much younger friend of mine, a very close friend indeed. Mihir, could you tell our viewers something more about your life?
Yes. Hello, I'm Mihir Pillai from Ahmedabad. I'm a 24 years old boy. I belong to an exceptional group of individuals with an Asperger's. I have completed my bachelor's in business administration and a post-graduation in development studies. And I'm working currently for children and adults with deaf blindness.
Thank you, my dear friend. Thanks a lot. And yes, we will let our viewers know more about yourself during the course of this program today. And could you please turn off your mic, Mihir? Thank you. Stephen, let me come to you now. In your growing up years, it must be in 1960s and 70s, how inclusive was society in your part of the world at that time?
Well, in the United States during the 1960s, late 60s, early 70s, through the 70s when I was in grade school, there was little to no inclusion. And in 1974, they just enacted the Special Education Law, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, otherwise known as IDEA. So in those days, I have many memories of public school, especially in elementary school, where I would spend my days sitting in the back of the room reading books on my favorite subjects, possibly astronomy, weather, aviation, electricity, earthquakes, volcanoes, whatever it was. And I'd take notes and copy diagrams. And while the concept of inclusion didn't exist back then, maybe today, some people would have considered that as inclusion because I was in a regular education class and with everybody else. However, I think of that as just a geographical inclusion, which means I'm in the same place, but that's it. To have true inclusion, both the autistic person and the regular education students have to benefit from the interaction. Today we know a lot more about inclusion, and today we see a lot more, many more people on the autism spectrum and with other disabilities included in classrooms and being meaningfully included so that everybody is learning. So I think we're getting better at it. We have a long way to go, but we're getting better.
Yeah. And in India, autism perhaps was unheard of at that time in 60s and 70s. And I'm sure the society in India had its limitation and was not that inclusive in the growing up years of these two young gentlemen as well. Ujjwal, could you please tell us about your childhood, your connection with your parents, other family members, and your friends?
Okay, my childhood was good. I enjoyed my time with my family, especially with my elder brother Dhaval. He passed away in 2003. My school, my first school was Sunshine Nursery School, and Dr. Vanita Rao was my first teacher. I made I made some friends in Facebook. Some of them are still in touch with me on the Facebook. I was sincere student and paid attention to my studies. I am fondly connected with my parents, grandparents, cousins, uncles, and aunties, and like to spend time with them. I'm happy.
I'm not hearing any sound from anybody. Something may have happened to the volume.
Okay, sorry, I was mute.
No,
So
okay.
thank you very much for sharing your experience with us, Ujjwal. I'm really very happy to know that you have always been very happy and during your school days as well. So would you like to share any noteworthy experience from your childhood with us?
In my early childhood, when I was 7 years old, I lost my elder brother. I felt sad when he died in April 2003. I used to spend time with him. Also, we used to go for walk and go to school.
I understand you, sir. You have always been very brave and very positive, and I have heard a lot of praise about you from the people who were around through the different stages of your life. Now, let me come to you, Mihir. Mihir, I have the same question for you.
Yes.
Mihir, yeah. Could you please mute yourself first because there is a feedback. Thank you. Mihir, Ujjwal and you are almost of same age. How were the growing up years of yours? Could you please tell us your connection with your family, relatives, friends, and neighbors?
Okay. Well, so I was born in Delhi and stayed there until the age of 7. My parents and I shifted to Ahmedabad when I was 8 years old. So during my childhood, the most thing which I was fascinated about was Indian mythology. I was too crazy about it. And the most important thing which used to interest me was the world of magic and fantasy. Like I used to believe in the world of fictitious, where all the I used to design characters who were very fictitious in nature, and I used to act also according to them. And I would spend a lot of time reading and seeing TV programs and movies on Indian epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata. I was also fond of outdoor games like football, cricket, basketball, table tennis, badminton. So quite often I had issues with friends as we had no common areas of interest. Like I used to feel left out and secluded from them, as my interests were different and their interests were different. So my parents have been one of my greatest friends, to be very honest, since I was a child, and I greatly enjoyed the company of my grandparents.
Yeah, so nice to know that, Mihir. Thank you for sharing. And I'm also a bit curious about your school, your teachers, and your uh, classmates. And of course, if you have any noteworthy experience to share with us.
Yes, so there has been unpleasant things as well as interesting and exciting things that I remember about my schooling. So in one of my school, I used to get bullied quite often actually. And the academic part of my schooling, such as studying various subjects like languages, social studies, maths, English, geography, were very tough for me, and I had difficulty in coping up with those subjects. So whenever I used to study those subjects, it would make me really very anxious and very fear I used to have of them. And the most exciting and interesting part of my schooling were extracurricular activities like dramatics, dance, and sports. I used to be like very competitive in participating in any kind of activities, and very enthusiastic kind of thing I had when I was in school days. And I greatly enjoyed football and athletics. So whenever I participate in any athletics like running, the competitive nature of my personality and desire to excel would always surface. I had many emotional and behavioral issues at home. There were so many issues which I was having actually. And I consider myself to be very lucky, as my teachers right from school to college were very understanding and motivating towards me. And my behavior was always repetitive in nature from school till now also. I choose to eat particular food only every day. I had many obsessions which would keep changing from time to time as I grew up. I would always take things very literally. If somebody would cut joke with me, or if anybody would scold me or shout at me, I would not comprehend it properly.
Very well spoken, Mihir. Very well laid out thoughts. Thank you very much. Now I will come to you, Stephen. Stephen, Mihir and Ujjwal grew up in India in the very recent past, within the first 2 decades of the millennium. I'm sure the scenario was a bit different in the US during that time. In the school and college scenarios, as Mihir said, that Mihir was misunderstood and bullied. I do hope that the awareness was more in your part of the world during that time, and so was the acceptance. What do you think?
Well, I'm seeing greater awareness throughout the world, and what that leads to is what I call my 4 A's of autism, which are awareness, acceptance, appreciation, and action. And this can happen on the individual level, the school-wide level, community, and even entire countries. And when I first started traveling internationally, there was very little known about autism. And so many countries were in the awareness stage, learning to recognize autism when it was occurring at home or in school, in employment, in the community, in relationships. So throughout the entire lifespan and life activities. And what I'm finding now is that more countries have developed this awareness. They're pretty good at recognizing autism when they see it. And now these countries are reaching out to the next level, which is acceptance. And what that means is accepting autistic people for who we are. And what I mean by that is that we work with the characteristics as opposed to against the characteristics of autism. So, for example, we might have somebody with severe sensory issues, which makes it impossible for them to go into, say, a busy store like Walmart or a big department store because it's too much sensory overload. And we're beginning to turn away from, well, you just have to put up with it, you have to get used to it, you just have to do it, to understanding that these environments can be sensorially overwhelming. And now we say, well, let's see if we can go into this busy store for just one thing. We're going to get one carton of milk and then we're going to leave. And also, as the adult, I'm not going to change my mind on you either. This is all we're going to do. Do you think you can do that? And also, I have a set of headphones with me. And if you need to use these headphones or ear protection, then you can use them while we're in the store. And then when we leave the store, you'll take them off. And you know what? You can hold these headphones because then you can use them whenever you need them, but only when you need them. Or we might even just decide that we can lead a fulfilling and productive life without going into these busy environments. So I'm seeing more of that now, which is really encouraging.
Yeah, and as you said, you have been traveling in many countries for autism advocacy, and it is encouraging these days. I completely agree. But what can you see these days? How the different parts of the world are doing to promote inclusion of people on the autism spectrum?
Yes.
And overall in society.
Yeah, well, I'm seeing more companies looking for ways to include their autistic workers, their autistic employees, finding ways to make the environment more autistic friendly, and also supervisors learning how to better interact and support their autistic employees. So I'm seeing a good amount of inclusion there. In school systems, there is a much greater effort by teachers to learn more about autism and to find ways to include students going far beyond what I experienced when I was in school, where I was just in the same room as everybody else. And maybe they called that inclusion, to now having the autistic students interact with the other students and vice versa.
Yeah, it's very encouraging to know that the scenario is improving. It's taking time, but it's improving. And we talk a lot about inclusion these days. So I would like to know your expert opinion about the work that is taking place in the different parts of the world, keeping in mind the meaningful inclusion of people who are on the autism spectrum, because our topic today is meaningful inclusion. Inclusion is something else, and meaningful inclusion, I think, is something else. So could you please share your views on that, Stephen?
Yeah, sure. Well, meaningful inclusion occurs when both the autistic person benefits from being in an inclusive situation and the regular education students also benefit from having that autistic person with being in the classroom. So an example might be finding ways to involve an autistic student in the class. So maybe I'll give an example. Maybe we have a situation, say it's a geography class.
Yeah.
And we're learning the different countries around the globe. And we have an autistic person who maybe isn't at the same level as everybody else. And no matter how many accommodations we make, they're just not at this time able to point to and identify the countries as everybody else does. So perhaps that student could be included by helping to hold the map of the world or holding a globe for other students to point at various countries. Maybe the student would be able to point to some countries. So I, as the teacher, maybe know that the student knows where India is, and maybe they know where China is. Maybe they're not sure of some of the countries in Europe. So I'm going to make sure that I ask a question that this student is going to be able to answer. Can you point to the country of India? Oh, that's great. This is where we live. And it's wonderful that you know where India is on the map. So we're doing what we can to ensure success is key.
Yeah, very true. I completely agree with you on this, Stephen. And these two young gentlemen present here today defeated a lot of challenges related to this meaningful inclusion in their lives. Yet they have come out with flying colors. Ujjwal, I will come to you now. How did you become a graphic designer?
When I was young, I used to draw sketches of autos and other machines on empty side of used computer paper, which Mama used to give. I have always liked drawing, coloring, sketching. Looking at this interest of mine, my mother exposed me to multimedia and to home tutoring. Mr. Chandrasekhar sir taught me Adobe Flash, Photoshop, and Adobe Illustrator in Bangalore. Then, when we moved to Delhi in 2013, Mr. Dheeraj Kushwaha sir trained me in Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator. Uh, In in Adobe Photoshop, I learned sketching, liquifying, and poster making. In Adobe Illustrator, I learned tracing characters, shading, etc. Then, in 2017, in Bangalore at Remote Creative Education Center, Mr. Jagdish sir taught me poster making, flyers, and hoardings. In Adobe Photoshop, in Design, Illustrator, and Photoshop, I passed and received the certificate through NSDC. Recently, I've started learning creative coding from Manufacturer from Harsha Code, Chennai through online classes, and I like it.
That's amazing. That's amazing, Ujjwal. And you received an award from the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment in India in the year 2017. How did it feel to receive that award?
I felt nice when I received the award from National Trust from under the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. The award was given to me for creating the red flag indicator for autism through graphic designing. Now, I work as a freelance graphic designer.
Okay, that's really nice to know, and it's such a proud moment it must have been for you and your family. Many congratulations to you once again.
Thank you.
And I will come to you, Mihir, now. Your Mihir, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
There is a feedback. That's why I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it's okay now. Mihir,
Mm.
could you please turn off your mic for a moment? Yeah. Mihir, as I know you personally and we are very good friends, your achievements are also very significant. We would love to know about them as well.
Okay, so I completed my graduation and post graduation in mainstream colleges. So the initial few months of my graduation were very difficult in terms of coping with studies and getting used to the academic system, as it was very new for me. My determination, along with understanding the educators and my parents' encouragement, helped me to get used to the college studies and that environment. I was able to complete my graduation and post graduation with reasonably good grades. I participated in extracurricular activities such as debate, quiz, and public speaking. The main underlying challenge which I faced in college was making friends.
Yes, I know that, Mihir. I know that challenge of yours. Okay, it's fine if you don't want to talk about that challenge. I will not insist you. Stephen, I'm sure you must have been enjoying listening to Mihir and Ujjwal. What suggestions, advice would you like to give this to young gentlemen and many others on the autism spectrum in different parts of the world to be happy and do well in their lives?
Well, to be happy and do well in your life, I think the best thing you can do is focus on your interests. What are your abilities? Focus on your strengths. So I heard discussion about using, I think it was Photoshop or something like that. And if you enjoy doing that, then make use of that. We all do better, whether we're autistic or not. We all try to find employment and spend time doing things we like to do. The things we like to do, we also tend to be good at. And for us autistic people, one of our characteristics is that the things we're good at, we're incredibly good at. And the things that we find challenging, we do need a good amount of support, which means it's ever more important to focus on those areas of strengths and abilities. And by being involved in our areas of strengths and abilities, in addition to opening up possibilities for employment, it also opens up possibilities for getting involved in the community and making friends as you meet other people who have similar interests, and now you have things in common.
Thank you very much, Stephen. I think your advice will help them go a long way. And Ujjwal and Mihir, I would like to know what's one thing you want the world should know about people with autism. Ujjwal, please.
My classmates used to manipulate me by making me say bad words to others when I was in class 4. I realized it later when I was being scolded by the teachers and understood the meaning of words, which were in Kannada and Tamil. I feel persons with autism should not be taken advantage of by anybody. Then only inclusion can happen.
Yes, yes, very true. Thank you very much, Ujjwal. Now, Mihir.
Yeah. According to me,
Yeah, Mihir.
hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Mihir.
Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead, Mihir.
Yeah. So according to me, the world should know what challenges this neurodivergent people are facing. The world should also know about some amazing things that people on autism spectrum are capable of doing. Their unique talents, what creative aspects they are able to do to showcase the world, so that all people can appreciate their many creative and innovative things. They should be included in various activity and should be accepted by everyone in the society, and have an inclusive approach at educational institutes and at workplace. So I'm very pleased to say that the organization that I'm working for at present has a very supportive and understanding team and very cooperative. So I'm very thankful to all the members and to God as well.
I'm mute. I was mute and I was speaking. Yes, Mihir. I must say that very well laid out thoughts once again. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. Stephen, your final words for the world, the so-called mainstream society, and the exceptional people on the spectrum and their families on this very special day, World Autism Awareness Day, please.
All right, well, two things come to mind. One is get to know the people on the autism spectrum in your lives, be it your children, be it co-workers, be it friends, people in the community. get to know these individuals. It's important to realize that the potential of autistic people is unlimited, just like everybody else. And what our job is we need to find ways to unlock that potential. Also, there is incredible diversity within the autism spectrum, which is why I like to say when you've met one person on the autism spectrum, you've met one person on the autism spectrum.
Thank you very much, Stephen, my dear friend. It has always been a great pleasure and a learning experience interacting with you, whether we meet in person or on a platform like this. I look forward to many more interactions with you in the near future. And my dear Ujjwal and Mihir, both of you are doing extremely, extremely well in your lives, and keep doing the good work. My best wishes to all of you, to both of you.
Thanks.
And thank you, Ujjwal, Mihir, and of course, Stephen, once again for joining us on this virtual platform.
Thank you.
Mihir, could you please turn off your mic? There is a feedback, or it is Ujjwal. Yeah. Thanks a lot once again to Stephen, Mihir, and Ujjwal for joining me on this virtual platform today on this special day, 2nd April, World Autism Awareness Day. And for our viewers, please keep an eye on our Facebook page for the announcement of the episode 17 of Let's Talk Inclusion. See you next Friday. Till then, take care and goodbye. Stephen, Mihir, and Ujjwal, thank you very much for your time and support. Thanks a lot. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.